Okay, I thought I'd give you a lesson about Pablo Escobar buying cars in Germany, and I did wrote here the message to the German government, to the Central Intelligence Agency, about how Pablo Escobar was buying cars at Mercedes, directly at Mercedes, that kind of stuff. I suggested how he was buying cars inside of the dealership. I explained to you how he had representative who would be buying directly from Mercedes, also from the dealerships. And now it's time to give you the proofs about this stuff, right? Because I'm sure that, I'm not sure, I know. I will explain to you why I know that you will claim that this is not true and this and that. This is true. Everything that is stated in this blog is true. And everything that I state, I can and will continue to support with the facts, with the proofs. First of all, who was Pablo Escobar? To understand all this. Well, Pablo Escobar was one of my associates, some sort of partner from Central Intelligence Agency. Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar, it says here that visited briefly as a tourist in 1980. Tourism, 1981. I was with him also. This is at the White House right here. The White House, all of them, George Bush Sr., everybody, every one of them claimed that they had nothing to do with no Pablo Escobar, no. The same happened with the Deutsche Mercedes, Daimler-Benz. Every executive was involved in this case since 1972. Every one of them. No. This one here apparently liked me a lot. And apparently that he disagreed with everybody. Well, he disagreed with everybody, but he have done nothing to you know, if he would have stopped here and say hello, that would be a different thing. But for somebody like myself, that was totally unknown and had to go to the broader public, I was unknown. Yeltsin and Putin referred to me as a king of Illuminatis. Literally. Russians recognized me as a king of Illuminatis. Putin changed later on. Came to conclusion that the best would be for him to be the king of Illuminatis, not only of Russia, and etc. Putin was not in a hurry. Putin was switching between the return to communism and, classic story, imperialism, communism, Russia, which is the same thing when it comes to the Russia. Yeah, I am not going to go through this stuff. I'm going to go through this stuff some other time. It doesn't matter. Pablo Escobar purchased probably about 200 Mercedeses from, more than 200 Mercedeses from Daimler-Benz. Pablo Escobar, I said that I'm going to talk to you about the physical proofs about this stuff. I mentioned that Pablo Escobar was my associate, that he worked for the CIA. Yes, of course, he was associate, he worked for the CIA. I selected him to be a leader of mafia, of the gangsters in South America. And I did so when I was a baby. I was smaller than his son over there in the picture. I did because he was nice with me. He knew how to treat me nice. And the most important when creating me for the Central Intelligence Agency, for the British MI5, for the German BND, and for the French intelligence and Italian intelligence and Australian and Canadian intelligence and basically entire Western world, the most important was to surround me with the people who would care for me and if necessary also stand up in my defense. And so this is how the Pablo Escobar gets on the picture. This is how the Pablo Escobar got on the picture. Pablo Escobar really got on the picture because he knew how to, in a quite a shrewd way, he knew how to basically, Colombian government basically selected him as, you know, Colombia, South America, America, United States of America and Germany and NATO and all that stuff became strong through me, through using me, because I was a cult personality as a baby. They didn't give a fuck about the CIA, they didn't give a fuck about, they were aligned actually to the Russians and stuff. They didn't care about, you know, but I made an exception. I made an exception through Italian government, through Spanish government and French government that they are more aligned to, connected to. And they demanded, you know, to support me. You don't have to support CIA, but just you support this kid. We need you to support the kid, you know. And so why was it for the CIA to this kind of stuff so important? It was extremely important for the Central Intelligence Agency because during the time of the Soviet Union, a jail of the nations known as the Soviet Union and Yugoslavia, there was this occult personality here on the Balkans whose name was Josip Broz Tito. Now, CIA needed me to make a break in a record short time. And I did it. Probably I was at the climax of my powers. Maybe I was when I was like, the Soviet Union collapsed practically when I was about, I don't know, 1979, 1980, 1981. It was well known that Soviet Union is not going to exist. I already created so much friction during visits to Moscow and to the Belgrade. Now you understand now what this is? Yeah, that's what that is. I already created so much friction. They already have so many allies inside of the Warsaw Pact. It's called the Warsaw Pact. This was known as the Warsaw Pact. There was also Poland and Czech Republic and Slovakia and so on. I already created so many allies inside and spies and all kinds of stuff. People started to see themselves in me standing up to the Russians, to the Russian occupation, and that's basically what the Soviet Union was throughout Russia. That it was inevitable for Soviet Union to collapse. Yeah, officially it went down in 1991, but this was just basically a delay. Something that they knew, it gave them time basically to contemplate on removing, basically disarming also Ukraine, and all kinds of stuff went on. Diplomatically they were setting the stuff. They were preparing themselves on the fall of the Soviet Union, which was a good news anyhow. They were going to give up the Soviet Union, the big jail of the nations. And so this is why I had to be more powerful than I had to be more powerful. I had to be stronger than Josip Broz Tito. I had to be stronger than Soviet leaders, all of them. I had to look like a cult personality, and I was a cult personality. If I wouldn't be stronger than all these guys together, they would have killed me. These guys here that you see, they would have killed me. All of these guys, Gorbachev, Putin, Josip Broz Tito, all this, Milosevic, all these clowns. They would have killed me. These boys would have fucking killed me. They were out there to kill me, make no mistake, because I was too much pro-American, I was too much pro-British, I was too much pro-German. They were gonna fucking kill me. Okay? So now, the only way, the one and only way to keep me alive, and there was no other way, was by basically getting me personalities around me that would be absolutely the biggest, the strongest, the most known in the history of the humankind. And that was also musicians, Hollywood, boxing, all kinds of stuff like this, you understand? So to say, CIA would go around and they would say, we can help you if you can help this boy. You understand? So the stuff I'm talking about is not stupid. This is not the stuff that I would be... Oh shit. This is not the stuff that I would be hallucinating, or I would be making it up, or, you know, that I would be just coming up with my own ideas, that I would be just lying to you, or mentally ill, or something like that. No, this was just a pure necessity that Central Intelligence Agency had to maintain. Job of the Central Intelligence Agency and British intelligence and French and Italian and German intelligence, all this, was to keep me alive. And to keep me alive was not easy at all, because at the same time they had to portray that they worked together with the Russians, with the Serbs. And so torture was divided almost on 50-50. With what went on inside of the Eastern Europe is just completely insane. And of course also in China and in India. It was just like the way I explained to you. I don't have anything else for you to understand when it comes to why now here you're gonna see me eventually. Here I am. Yes, I am recording this stuff. Why it was so important, why this was, who was Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar with the Central Intelligence and also BND, which is a German intelligence associate. He was your padron, he was your partner. You love Pablo Escobar, come on. You, in the United States of America, it's CIA, it's the German BND and so on. You fucking love Pablo, come on. The funny part about it is the proofs, right? I support everything with the proofs, right? So the guy from Daimler-Benz, let me demonstrate you this guy again. He claimed that this is absolutely not true, that he does not know nothing about the Pablo, that the Daimler-Benz had nothing with the Pablo. They knew nothing about the Pablo Escobar. They knew nothing about the Pablo Escobar. Yeah, they did. And it's ugly because they came inside of our house and they talked to me. This is the guy that you have not seen me demonstrating you earlier. I selected him. I like him. I liked him. It's very nice always. They would never admit. These people don't never admit anything. They never admit anything. They never tell anything. This one even claimed that he would prefer me over all the German Kaisers and everything that Germany had. And suggested even that he disagreed with the way they treat me because German history simply repeats and it always ends with a dark side. This was the guy who actually stated that he was not the only one, it was many like this, that he did not agree with official Berlin politics. This is a Mercedes executive. Well, nobody wanted to know anything about the Pablo Escobar. So earlier I said I'm going to say to you about the proofs. But maybe the biggest proofs when it comes to Mercedes, Pablo Escobar and Mercedes, is that I was accused by Central Intelligence Agency in 1984, 1985, and in 1986, FBI directors and the CIA directors jumped into my face and claimed that I was buying Mercedeses and Cadillacs in cars, you know, expensive cars in the USA at the dealership together with the Pablo Escobar. Yeah, they were right. They were not wrong about it. That actually did happen. That actually happened. So you're gonna say that the German government claimed, no, Pablo Escobar, never in Germany, never. No, 99, no. Yeah, Pablo Escobar did have a guy. Pablo Escobar on a regular basis interacted with the Central Intelligence Agency in the Panama where his family was at one point in time. You understand? Pablo Escobar was buying gifts, Mercedes cars, for Venezuelan, for Colombian politicians, for politicians in Caribbean, in Central America. What the fuck are you talking about that you did not know about Pablo Escobar? That's a funny shit, man. I would be delivered to Germany, or maybe Pablo Escobar would be delivered to Germany. Usually it would go through Colombia, Venezuela, whichever way to Germany. And it would be another guy. Pablo would say, I'm going to give you this guy. And then I will find myself at Mercedes. And executives and dealership and etc., etc., etc. But it's interesting, it's important to mention that Pablo Escobar was just few steps away very often. And whenever he was, in a parenthesis, not present, and he would signal the guy which car he wants. You remember when I said United States of America, 1984, 1985, 1986? And you're gonna say that Pablo Escobar did not work for you? Directly that he did not work for you? You accused me. Remember when you jump into my face, all paranoid, all schizophrenic, and you started to video record yourself in my face in 95, in 85, in 86, in 87, claiming me, posing next to me that I am associate of the Pablo Escobar, that he is with me roaming the United States of America and buying cars and doing shit? Remember that stuff? How the hell did you find out about Pablo Escobar buying cars, you know, throughout the United States of America? Florida specifically. You like Florida. Carolina. How the hell did you find out about Pablo Escobar? How the fuck did you find out about a Pablo Escobar buying fucking cars in the United States of America? Which he did. Yes, I was with him. How did you find out about this shit? If Pablo Escobar, and you know, it's bizarre, because Pablo Escobar gets killed finally in 93, and we go 94, 95, 96, bizarre shit. They're selling cars, and they're very satisfied, and they look at me in a funny way, you know. They pose next to me, looking at me in a funny way, talking about anywhere from the dealers, from the CIA, FBI, scolding me. And they keep selling fucking cars to fucking mafia over there from South America. And posing next to me, and giving me a moral lessons. Pablo Escobar knew all about this shit. Pablo Escobar only was doing, like I said, whatever he was asked. If it was in Germany, it was by the German government. If it was in the US, it was by American government. And you're gonna fucking say that you did not know who the fuck the Pablo Escobar was when it comes to interacting with the CIA. Senior Bush claimed, oh no. And it was the same shit with the Clinton. It was the same thing with all of them. With Reagan, with Nixon, all of them. No, we don't have nothing to do with the Pablo Escobar. We don't know nothing about who the Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar was a cult personality which you created so that he could be around me and he could shadow in his own way Russian, the Soviet, and Yugoslav, Josip Broz Tito, Milosevic, and so politicians. They were fucking intimidated because there was a boy that was 2 years old, and he was a bigger kahuna than, the British royals told me, we don't have much time. We have to create you as big as we fucking possibly can. They grabbed absolutely anything they possibly could. They pulled everything from Australia to Canada, US, and entire Europe, and also South America. I became known as a president when I was maybe 2 years old. I was equivalent to the president. I was more than a president when I was 2 years of age, when I was 2 years old. By the time I was 5 years old, it sure felt like I was 20 years old. I was a cult personality. I had sheikhs, I had all kinds of royals traveling with me to Germany or to Britain, buy themselves ROYCEs and planes to America and stuff. And you're gonna fucking say, you don't know who the fuck the Pablo Escobar was. I will tell you who the fuck Pablo Escobar was. Pablo Escobar was your boss. Not your boss, I'm sorry. Pablo Escobar was your associate. One of your associates. So don't fucking tell me that you don't know about who Pablo Escobar was. I wouldn't even come up with this stuff. I wouldn't tell this like this. But you really, 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 you know how far you have gone with this stuff. You don't do this stuff like this to people. You don't do. You spill the whole shit out. You made me talk about the stuff like this. So now I'm going to fucking talk. I'm going to give you the proofs about this stuff. If you want the proofs, you're going to go to the CIA, go to the FBI, and they're going to admit you directors of FBI, CIA, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, in 96, 97, 98, in 1980, what the fuck did I say? 1987, 1988, 1984, 1985, 1986, 87, 88, 86, 88, 87, 88, they started to terrorize me that I am a gangster, that I am his associate, and I'm just as dangerous, or even more dangerous, etc., with the Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar had an outstanding way to get into the dealership, to buy the stuff, on the cameras, on everything, unless you're going to propose they didn't have cameras back then. Fine, if that's what you want to say. And, they could never catch him. They could never fucking catch him. It was a fucking smoke. It was a fucking ghost. The only thing is they always keep coming back to me, and they was always, blaming me on how I am his associate, and I'm a terrorist, and I'm a mafia, and I'm a gangster, and I don't know what the fuck I am. Talking about directors from FBI and CIA. These are really schizophrenic schizos. Well, you know what a schizo is? Schizo doesn't have to be, schizophrenic doesn't have to be mentally ill person. Schizophrenic can be a person that knows his fucking line, that is distorting, that is fucking lying, that is making shit up, that is making his own stories just so he could fuck somebody, basically apologize his miserable existence, his lies. And that's exactly what the Central Intelligence FBI were and are. So you want the proofs? Would I say this shit to you? If wasn't it the truth? No, because the whole case about MK Ultra is black and white documented. They signed, it was signed and everything. And so this also was signed. The stuff that I told you also was verified by the FBI, by the CIA, by the German government. They all fucking know about that. Makes it disgusting is that you guys fucking lied. And even tried to present me as associate of Escobar, as a really evil person. And you are doing this stuff because you were sure you're gonna fucking cut my throat before the truth is gonna come out. Well, thanks to my parents staying alive, paying the bills, somehow you did not manage to do so. Everything did came out. One way or the other, just so that they stay alive, basically fucked you up. This is basically the way it is. This much about the CIA and about the Pablo Escobar. Did I don't fucking hear ever any one of you saying that you don't know who the fuck the Pablo Escobar is? George Bush Younger claimed that, yeah, I know nothing about that stuff, that this was just with the Clinton. No, they just absolutely know nothing about any of this stuff. All of them denied, absolutely disputed anything about this. Was just one time with Reagan, one time that nobody knew nothing about. With George Bush Sr., absolutely knew nothing about. Not even that he was standing at the front gate and they were repeating this shit and repeating this shit and repeating this shit for 40 fucking years in front of me. Obviously also to convince me that they had no fucking idea who the Pablo Escobar was and that they had no fucking idea about anything. It was funny, man, that the dealers who informed you at CIA and an FBI, that's funny shit. That there were people that you had informants that they informed, that's what you suggested. When you schizophrenically blame me right there with the cameras where you post in my face that I am, you know, Escobar is associated, etc., etc., because the Soviet Union was practically gone. The Soviet Union, Soviet Union was already so much penetrated. You know, when the CIA gets his shit on the track, they don't need you anymore. They don't fucking need you anymore. As soon as they get on the track, as soon as they get enough espionage, as soon as they get enough established, the channels, you're out of the picture. That's the way they work. Wherever the fuck you are from, think about what the fuck I stated to you. It's only, it's a knife in the back. It's a knife, it's a dodgery, it's a knife in the back. This is a Central Intelligence Agency. This is how the British work. This is how the Germans operate. That's how it is. This is the German coin. This is the Deutsche Mark. This is how they turn dollars and pounds. This is how it is. This is how it works. It's the biggest mafia in the world. And I wouldn't be saying this, and I wouldn't be recording this shit if there was a fucking grain of decency in these people. It's a scum. It's a scum. I always defended CIA and FBI and so on, but I don't defend it no more. And so Pablo Escobar always somehow disappeared before FBI CIA appeared and started to interrogate me. You know, they would get me to United States and, you know, stressing me psychotically, completely. Going to first grade of the high school, second grade of the high school, and I get these schizophrenics Americans throwing themselves in the face. Completely, you know, in front of some fucking guy over there, I don't know, at Bremen, in Miami, at whatever dealership they had me. There was other dealerships too, stressing me out about that you saw who I saw, you know, I saw and so on, and all fucking stressed up about, you know, how, you know, like, whoa, you know, whoa, Pablo Escobar, you know. Oh, man. I was not born yesterday. You scum went on to deny me. Even that I didn't want anything from you. All I wanted to do is have a fucking life. But it was embarrassing for you because of all these connections. And here's the fucking guy like this. Because this is the way you do the stuff. This is just the way you do the stuff. This is your way of paying, you know, for things. This is the way you pay. Criminals pay with the money and you pay with the bullets, basically. This is, you know, the difference between the police, between the CIA and FBI is they are wearing, some are wearing the badges and some are not wearing the badges. There definitely is the difference between the two groups. Shit, it's coming out of my mouth, this stuff. And they used to refer to me also as a CIA. As a CIA. They used to refer to me as a king of the CIA. They used to refer to me as a king of all the global intelligence there is out there. But you left me with no choice. And you video recorded yourself. And at the dealership in the United States of America and at the dealerships in the Germany with your German executives, all that stuff, in presence of Pablo Escobar and so on, this kind of stuff, recording me in his presence and so on, and giving me attitude when, if, in a parenthesis, he was not present and that kind of stuff, that does not work for me. You know, doing this kind of resume behind my back, I'm talking to you, CIA, FBI, that ain't gonna work here. That does not work here. That does not work here. Those are things that do not add up mathematically here. Do not add up. So if you want the proofs, I gave you the fucking proofs. Is it fair enough? I did reminded you about your schizophrenic outbreaks in Miami, in Florida, in Carolina. Did I reminded you? You're literally hijacking me to the United States of America, and with your CIA, FBI directors, whoever the fuck they were, jumping in my face and claiming that I'm his associate, buying cars with him in the US and stuff. That's fair enough. You have documented? Well, the people whom I have mentioned interacted with the George Bush, with the Bill Clinton about exactly the same issue, because they took the shit even further and video recorded themselves for the sake of their own bosses, or I should say, and vice versa. Making a shit resume. Portray me in a most disgusting negative light, eh? So today, tell me, how the fuck is it coming along? How you're successful like this? How did you convince your people in Asia and in South America and all over the place? It's good to work with you, huh? It pays off to be your partner. It's good to be with you. How is it coming along? I'm a crazy guy. I'm a fucking insane guy. I'm a lunatic. And I say so, I'm a lunatic. Because when the person is a lunatic, if you prove him that he's a lunatic, if he's a bobo, if he doesn't know nothing about the stuff that went on, you don't know him nothing. You don't know him nothing. That's why I said I'm a bobo. You wanted me to be bobo because the person that doesn't know anything, you don't owe him anything, right? Because this is the way the MK Ultra works. Eh? So you like your shit? You like to spill your shit for the world to see how you operate, how you work, where humanity is heading with you? You like it like this? You want to go to work for the CIA? Eh? You want to be an agent of the CIA? You want to work with the CIA? That's how the Charlie from the London, Charles and Philip and Elizabeth and Andrew wanted to portray me. He's a stupid fucking guy, just enough to do the job, but not to know what the fuck is going on, eh? That's what we do, through electroshocks. And we rule the world. It's not Britannia anymore, it's electroshocks that rule the world. Thanks for watching this video. Don't ever fucking say to me who Pablo Escobar is, who did he work for, who made him. Central Intelligence Agency made Pablo Escobar. And or, if he was in the Germany, if he was buying personally cars from German dealerships, if a German executives, which you did, at least Pablo Escobar visited Mercedes, literally meeting top German executives in my presence on at least 5 occasions. And he might have been, instead of 5, might have been 50 fucking times. Who the hell knows? The dealerships in the United States of America, Pablo Escobar also bought Cadillac. I know that he bought a Cadillac. One time he said to me, this time he wants to buy a Cadillac. It was a very long time that he was thinking about buying a Cadillac. He was always buying those, he referred to them as my cars, Mercedeses. So never ever fucking say to me that you don't know who Pablo Escobar is, that the only time is what you claim that Pablo Escobar was United States of America was when he was standing at the gate, when he actually took a picture in front of the White House. Never fucking say that to me again. Pablo Escobar was your associate, your padrón, your papito. That's how that's done. For any questions you already know. Everything, of course, that I state is a fact, because when I think about these Epstein files, they're so fucking pathetic, man. So fucking pathetic. Bill Clinton personally posed for those fucking files, make photos, make himself comfortable inside of that pool. And when I think about even that kind of stuff was too much for you guys, I don't even know what the fuck I would say. Look, you found the wrong person. You did not find the wrong person. You fuck with the wrong person. It does not work for me like this. All you scum want to do is eat ice cream and do nothing and give credit all to yourself. But I don't allow this stuff. It doesn't work with me. It does not work with me like this. So, this is the video on the Douglas's. Airbus did not even exist back then, but Douglas was a smaller company than Boeing. But I brought a Boeing into bankruptcy literally through making people purchase planes from me like crazy, instead of Boeing, they were purchasing from Douglas. They were purchasing from Douglas. So much they were purchasing from Douglas that Boeing went bang bang. They literally, Boeing executives had to go down on knees in front of me and beg me to please do that. Simply because the cult personality that I owed, it was the kind of personality that could get you federal money, federal technology, federal whatever the fuck do you need for you to shine. And so I kind of like McDonnell Douglas, and McDonnell Douglas started to take, the lead, the best, and Boeing went bang, 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 almost. Yeah, I understood the importance of the Boeing, and I started to suggest also Boeing and this and that. And as soon as the Boeing started to pull itself out of the shit, the Boeing wanted me fucking dead. They said that something like this should have never repeated, that some kid is gonna bankrupt the fucking company, like a mega company, like a Boeing and stuff like that. This little shit was selling Boeing. He was wearing a fucking diapers. He was busy wearing a fucking diapers. Now that he was selling Boeing. Talking about the Donald Trump. So, that's all I gotta say about the Pablo Escobar, Mercedes, Daimler, Benz, and even Cadillac he purchased. He might have purchased maybe even 2 Cadillacs. He purchased a lot of fucking cars. A Rolls-Royce he purchased. He purchased a Rolls-Royce. The friends that came with me and to the Britain and to... He did met Prince Charles in Britain, I believe. I believe that he did met Prince Charles. Prince Charles was horrified. He said that he would be only meeting him because of me. At least this is what the Charles said. I don't know if that's true or not. There was all kinds of interesting people that they were coming with me. Maybe some of them did not work for the CIA, but Pablo Escobar absolutely did. Saying that Pablo Escobar did not work for the CIA is bullshit. At least the beginning did. Okay? Yeah. Things went wrong for Pablo Escobar. I did explain everything in 1986. There is another video you're gonna see. You're gonna watch that video and things started to go really, really wrong for Pablo Escobar in 86. Pablo Escobar, just like many other people, became a little bit too crazy. When this is political shit, and when it comes to political stuff like this, it has to be very, very coordinated, very, very smart. And when people take it too far, and then it's a problem, with these governments. They have to apologize their existence. And by killing people and doing stuff, you're not doing them a favor, because they fell under the suspicion. And then the whole fucking thing, including myself, I don't look so fucking credible in that case no more. That's a problem. It's all kinds of problems then. Pablo Escobar worked for everybody. Whoever the fuck gave this. This is basically what the drug dealers do, no? Oh shit, I just saw the picture of the Pablo Escobar and I cannot afford myself to miss on one. This guy, he was completely shot out to this guy. This one, he wanted to fucking choke me. He wanted to fucking kill me. He wanted to fucking kill me because I destroyed him. And the way I destroyed him is by basically proving that a small child can be more loyal to his country than their own most loyal communist leadership. And that stuff was proven through a Spanish king. What is this guy that he is now in exile? Replaced Franco. In Spain. But in Italy and Spain, where they would fucking torture me during MK Ultra till I would fell on the ground from exhaustion. You understand? And I did it so because they started to suggest me that I am a king. That kind of stuff. That kind of sickness. But only if I can prove complete loyalty, which I was so loyal to these people that it was basically unlimited. It was unlimited. That Josip Broz Tito alone stated to them, he said, like I was his son. He said, you're gonna kill him to me. Hoćete da mi ubićete mi ga. Huh? You're gonna kill him, like in sense like I was his son, basically, from exhaustion. Okay? This started to get a problem because it came out that I was addicted to the British Royals. I was addicted to the British Royals. I was addicted to the British and to Americans. And it was a big problem. I was addicted to the Germans. Everything. Women. The blonde women. Black women too. Big cars. Huge cars. Castles. Yeah, I don't know how you say that. Wealth, basically, Rascosia. I don't know how you say that in English, how you would say that. But, you know, the abundance, basically. The freedom, you know, that's like weird where I would be brought to United States and, you know, in the US, everybody had a cameras and stuff like this and so on. The cameras in Yugoslavia were even prohibited, basically. It's crazy shit. God forbid that you would go and video record somebody inside of the store or something like that. They fucking throw you on a goli otok, something like that. I mean, crazy stuff went on over there. He fucking hated me. He started to fucking hate me. This is nobody will hate you more than a man like this, that is well respected, that is international recognized, and you have a little boy that is keep coming. They keep dragging him on a fucking picture through whom he can get fucking anything, and he can fucking see with his own eyes. A new car manufacturers, a new machines, a new even weaponry and all kinds of stuff that he couldn't even imagine, dreamed about, started to get a hold of and so on. But this little boy is addicted to Americans, to Germans, to the British, to the French, to the Italians, to the Spaniards, not to the Russians and not to the Yugoslavs. And the torture that accumulated in him, he is becoming resistant and more resilient and more decided about rejecting you. These people did not fucking like me, man. If you want to keep the boy like this alive on the picture and continue to interact with him, with spies, with all kinds of people on the other side of the world, then you better get all kinds of Pablo Escobar, you get all kinds of shit, you better get it together. That's why I said that I was a king of the Central Intelligence Agency, and MI5, and of all the intelligence, Western intelligence companies that are out there. And pull behind me, even South America, what they could not dream about, actually. This stuff here, that you see here, this kind of stuff, this stuff was done in the presence of the CIA. This was not, nobody knows about that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff repeated in the US. It was with the kids that were dressed up in a funny way. That kind of stuff went on with kids already grown up. I'm pretty sure it was in the US. To me, it looked like it was in the US. It looked to me completely in the US. He is, well, this was already after his death. Anyways, in a parenthesis. The only way that would be, you know, the only way that this shit would be also, that this will repeat it at a later stage, maybe by Americans trying to remind me or something like that, using actors, which also was the stuff they would do. Maybe even making a, yeah, that might have been a possibility too. I'm not going to exclude that, but no. The stuff that I told you in this video is real. This is not, there's no, this shit, the stuff that I spoke to you about is not questionable with the German executives from the Daimler-Benz executives bitching me about ever even mentioning me that Pablo Escobar was a personal visitor to the Daimler-Benz. It was a time when the Germans had their police bitching executives right in front of me so that I would understand that that's not good, that is not good. And that took place, and this is another proof, this is what the BND release the fucking files, fucking BND. Release it, scum. Release the fucking files, scum. Release your fucking files. The year when that took place was 1986. Like I said, things started to go wrong for Pablo Escobar in 1986. In 1986, I had German police, I had German intelligence bitching to the German executives of a Mercedes Daimler-Benz, where Pablo Escobar used to come, with German executives claiming that they did not meet him. They did not meet him, they didn't know him. They didn't know him, they did not meet him. Well, actually, there were two guys. I could sketch the guys. One was the assistant of the main manager, actually four of them. It was not just like this. And they were all stressed up. They were all stressed up. So all of a sudden, in 1986, nobody wanted to know nothing about the Pablo Escobar. Release the fucking files about the Pablo Escobar visiting Mercedes Daimler-Benz directly. Not only the dealership, but your fucking, you know, the company itself. People, big people like this had a fucking access. The German, who do you think that brought people like this to the companies like that? The companies like this would only host people like this if they had the green light directly from who other than Berlin. In that time, it was not Berlin, it was, what was it? It was a Bonn, eh? Goodbye, thanks for watching the video, till next time. So, physical evidence, one CIA FBI accusing me of being his associate, claiming that they were trying to catch him, they couldn't catch him. At the dealership. At the dealerships. Second one, BND 1986. Pablo Escobar verboten, prohibited to have anything to do with him. Video recording yourself. Release the fucking files. Release the files, scum. Because of you, I end up inside of the psychiatric hospital, you fucking scum. That's what you did to my life. Never fucking say to me who Pablo Escobar was. Again, that I'll fucking hear you talking about, you know nothing about the Pablo Escobar. You know everything about the fucking Pablo Escobar. You made Pablo Escobar.